everyone, and welcome to the Tips and Bricks podcast. Here we're going to discuss all things Lego and share some of the community's best tips about those bricks that we all love. My name is Evan, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm one of the hosts of our podcast. Today, I'm joined by our host, Alex. Alex, how are you today?
Hi, Evan. I'm doing really well, thank you. Really excited to join you on this second episode of the Tips and Bricks podcast. My pronouns are he, him, and yeah, I'm super excited for the special guest we have today. It's going to be so much fun. Let's do this.
I'm super excited too. We've both met this great person in person, and let me just introduce him. So it is Jay Ong. Jay runs the popular Lego blog called Jay's Brick Blog, and Jay's been a prominent voice in the online community for so many years now. So Jay, welcome to the podcast, and can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, thanks so much for having me on board. It's a huge honor. I'm a big fan of Tips and Bricks. And yeah, it's been so great to see you guys grow so much. A bit about me. My pronouns are he and him. I live in Melbourne, Australia. I moved to Melbourne like I don't know 13 years ago, and this has been home ever since. And yeah, I run Jay's Brick Blog. I'm Jay from Jay's Brick Blog.
Fantastic. Great name. Great name. Did you throw some different names out there? Because I remember when I named Tips and Bricks, originally it was Lego Mocks Tips and Tricks because I wanted the word Lego in there so people knew what it was about. But eventually I merged that into Tips and Bricks. Did you play around with any other names?
I did. It was actually very hard because I think I initially wanted it to be the Brick Blog, but that had already been taken. I was trying out different things and nothing seemed to like click. So I went, just gonna put my name on it and there we go. Like that was like the most like catchiest thing, but at the same time it was a very conscious decision to make it a very, a personal extension of myself. So my name's on it. I create most of the content, and there's a very personal touch to it. That's always been, I guess, the focus and the essence of the blog and what I do. So I'm glad it stuck.
You also have a great name for Jay's Brick Blog.
Oh, thank you.
It flows so beautifully.
I have to thank my parents for Jay. I did do it. I had no part in that.
I'm also thinking, like, did you have, like Tips and Bricks, a very cursed early logo?
Well, fun fact, I did not have a logo because I am not a designer. So I just had like Jay's Brick Blog as text, and I ran with it for like 12 years. I just kept putting it off until this year, where I did a bit of a rebrand and I refreshed the look and feel of the website. And I thought, all right, this is a great time to introduce a logo, and now I do have a logo. So yeah.
Yeah, first of all, just Jay, like, I think it's just so cool that you've had this ambition and just have carried it out for such a significant period of time and really like self-made yourself to the point where you can be where you are now. I think that's so cool. So I think that actually perfectly segues into a question that we would love to ask all of our guests when we bring them on, which is that the Lego hobby, it can mean so many things. That's showing your work at conventions. You can build a set with a friend. You can mock from your own collection, or you could just collect and display sets and minifigures, and that's it. So when you think about your experience with the Lego hobby, what's your favorite part?
Ooh, that is a great question. I was gonna say like my favorite part is like not having any space at home because all my shelves and every open space is just like filled with Lego. But my favorite part of the hobby, and I think what's so special about Lego, is that it's a connection to my childhood. It's a connection to, there's a nostalgic angle to it, and it just reminds me of, when I was like 6, 7 years old, playing with Lego. I didn't have a lot of Lego then, but that connection to my childhood and to my inner child, that playfulness that you get with Lego, that's my favorite part of the hobby. I think it's so important to not lose sight of that, even as a grown adult.
100%. Really great answer. I think a lot of us have nostalgia for our childhood, and Lego can be such a great way to rekindle that, right? And just detach from the rest of the world.
Yeah, more so even than just like the actual building of Lego, but also with the way Lego has recently really kicked into nostalgia with the types of sets they produce and the actual content within the sets. It's like a double layer of nostalgia almost.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for us adults to also still play, and have fun with, something that's, physical and tangible. And I just think that that sense of playfulness that you get with Lego is something that that's just so special, and the very fact that it ties in to most of our childhoods, where most of us had Lego as a kid or played with Lego as a kid, and the fact that it's cool to play with Lego as an adult, that's just so cool.
Brilliant. Well, that wraps up our introduction nicely. Let's jump straight into our first segment then. So this is going to be controversial takes. So we're going to discuss a variety of our controversial takes. In our pilot episode, we discussed just our hot takes in general about the Lego hobby. Our four hosts had a variety of opinions. But today we're going to focus on our controversial reviews. Here at Tips and Bricks, we've reviewed probably over about 300 sets by now. And Jay, I'm sure you've reviewed probably even more than that, really. So I'll come to you first. What immediately jumps to mind when I say controversial Lego review?
Oh, okay. That's a fun question. This is a fun segment. I am not kind of really in the business of stirring up controversy, so I would say most of my reviews are pretty level-headed. I'm a lot older, a lot more mature, a bit more mellow right now, so I've kind of stepped away from like that edgy, controversial era. But there was that era.
You're not kind of in it to create drama, right? Like, I think we're similar, but it means that when we do have a controversial take, right, then people talk about it, or we're all discussing it as well.
Yeah, I'm still brutally honest, but maybe a bit more like tactful right now. But going back to the era, I think this was 2016, and I think one of the most controversial reviews was Assault on Hoth, which was a UCS set from Lego Star Wars Ultimate Collector set from 2016, and I think I gave that set like a 0 out of 5.
Wow.
It was a fun review to write because the set was just so controversial at the time, and it still is. And I just kind of decided to just completely just like torch the set and what Lego was doing with it. So just to give a bit of context, I give it a 0 out of 5, and I was like, avoid. And the thing with the set was that it wasn't a bad set, but it had the UCS label, the Ultimate Collector Series label, which used to stand for something really kind of impressive and really awesome. It was really expensive, but this was before Lego's like 18 plus adult strategy was in full bore. So this was a big deal back then, and it had that UCS label. So it wasn't a bad set. It was essentially a big Hoth Echo Base playset. It was like a whole bunch of like small little playsets jumbled up together into this massive set, and it was critically panned at the time. A lot of other reviewers, also laid into the set, and I think the most controversial part of it was that it had that UCS label. If Lego had just released it without that UCS label, that would change a lot of people's opinions on it at the time. They obviously learned from that because it was so poorly received and so poorly reviewed that they introduced a whole new like subcategory called the Master Builder series. So we have Cloud City, and we have, what's the other one? Mos Eisley. And those are big adult scale playsets, which was what Assault on Hoth was trying to be. But yeah, I absolutely just like tore into them for the review, and it was kind of fun.
What I'm wondering though is, do you still have the same feelings? Like, what is that? 8 years later?
Well, to add on that, Evan, I was going to say if Assault on Hoth was branded as like an ultimate playset or the Master Builder series, would you still hold the same like thinking? Would you have still given it a 0 out of 5? What do you think?
No, because it's not a bad set. It's a decent enough playset, but structurally, the parts of it seem kind of like mishmash. There were a few like errors. Like the shield generator had like, I think they were like 3 when they were supposed to be 4. There were just lots of different, like, it just felt like a bit of a mess, like the whole hodgepodge of smaller sets combined into one, and it didn't have the like finesse of like Mos Eisley or like Cloud City from the Master Builder series. I think if it didn't have the UCS label, it would have gotten maybe, I don't know, like a 2 out of 5. Because again, it was a very expensive set for the time. And when they expect fans to spend that much on a set, like you need to be able to like deliver like an excellent product and experience.
And just for some context too, reading your review, you have some quotes like, "It's a huge bloated mess. What I didn't like. Where do I even begin?" And under what I liked, you go, "The snow speeder isn't the worst." So even that is like a total diss.
Sounds like it was fun to write.
Yeah. And it was a fun thing to write because I think everyone in the Lego community there was just so much anger at the set at the time. So it was really kind of reflecting like the community sentiment as well. I think my favorite line from like my review was that I called it a rip Hoth.
That's brilliant. Love those puns.
I was pretty proud of that one. So if you want like a good dose of like nostalgia from like the older days, check out like Brickset's review. I think Captain Rex did similarly scathing review of the set. I think the review in Eurobricks was, similarly pretty awful as well. So it was a fun time.
I'm gonna start off my Star Wars hot takes by being just saying I like this set. I think this set is cool. I mean, Star Wars rarely has just landforms, and especially just Lego in general rarely has snow scenes. And so I think that having that combined with Star Wars, especially where you have all these interesting planets that you never really get to see the terrains of, I think this is actually pretty interesting. Most Star Wars terrains are just sand, so at least we get something a little different. I would love to see a set that's just like this, but crate.
I agree, but it was just not polished enough to deserve the UCS label. And I think that,
That's
and
fair.
this was back then when you only had like one UCS release a year. So that was the only, imagine if that was the only UCS release of the year. It was a strange year. There were two UCS sets, they were both play sets, so there wasn't a big display model as well. So people were like, what's going on? We had the Death Star came out late 2016. That was a remake as well. So it was just a strange year for Star Wars.
Yeah, quite disappointing, I'm sure, for those Star Wars fans who are just hoping for something a bit better than Hoth. And I'm not surprised you gave it a 0 out of 5. This segues us on to my controversial review. I didn't actually write this review, but I remember vividly our reviewer at the time, Barbara, who's no longer with the blog. She messaged me and she said, "Alex, I want to give a set 0 out of 100. Can I do it?" And I said, "Okay, explain." And she explained, and the review's gone up and it has 0 out of 100. And the first thing we say is, nope, that's not a mistake. We literally reviewed the set, gave it 0 out of 100. The set in question is the VW T2 camper van. And we gave it 0 out of 100 because the set copy that we received had faulty bricks. We've never really seen this to this kind of like scale before, because if you have a look at the review, we first talk about what we liked about it, but then we quickly get onto how some of the clutch power of the bricks wasn't great, like it was falling apart. But probably the most shocking thing is that a lot of the plates, and especially in white and yellow, were really soft and actually bendy. Like, yes, Lego bricks will bend slightly, but I mean, Evan, Jay, have you seen this review? Have you ever seen Lego bricks bend like that before?
I remember seeing that review and I was like, wow, like they went in on the set. And I mean, that's the thing about like particularly like skating reviews. Like, it's they're kind of fun to write and they're kind of fun to, but at the same time, like when I saw your review and I saw how warped like some of the bricks or some of the plates were, I was like, oh my goodness, like that is not something that you'd expect.
The interesting thing was, like, we weren't sure if this was just a problem with our product. So I think we did reach out, we did some research, but it turned out that a few other people had received a set similar and sent it back. Oh no, the thing was that Barbara looked at the reviews on the Lego store, and a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, I can't put this set together, like it's falling apart." And Lego had been replying saying, "Oh, make sure you're following the instructions." So it was super interesting. We got in touch with Lego. They said they'd look into it, but we never heard anything else. So it was disappointing. And we obviously wanted to share that with our viewers because we didn't want them to go out and buy this set, have the same experience.
I'm curious, had you gotten a good copy of the set, because those do exist out there. I'm wondering what this would have been reviewed. Because I actually think it's a pretty decent looking model. I mean, it's not a bad set by any means.
Agreed. I mean, we did do one slide on what we liked, and that was things like, yeah, the
One
parts,
slide.
well, just one slide, and the fun stickers as well. And like, it did have some great techniques, had detailed interior, but yeah, we couldn't build it, so let alone review it, really. Jay, did you build this set and did you review it for your blog?
No. So funny story. After seeing your review, I didn't get offered the set. But after reading your review, I made a decision not to buy the set, and I buy most like icons or like creator expert sets, especially the like vehicle
Wow.
sets. But the T1 is like one of my favorite like creator expert sets. It's such a great model, such a great looking model. So when I read your review, I was like, wow, this is bad. I'm not gonna pick it up because I also remember that it was also a lot more expensive. Like it was a very pricey set. So that was already, kind of making me go, ooh, do I pick it up? Do I wait for a sale? But yeah, after reading a review, I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna pick this up. Like this is, yeah, especially when it was evident that a lot of other people had issues, had various issues with it as well.
So that was one controversial review we did, and I think everyone was in agreement that that was maybe not the best set. But Evan, I know you have an example of a set that we put out our honest review, and we were all pretty confident as a team, and we got kind of roasted in the comments, I think it's fair to say. Do you want to tell our listeners about that?
Were we confident as a team? Because I feel like I was thrown to the wolves.
Well, we all approved it. Like I think, as we do with every set review, we share the draft with the team, we give feedback on it, and we raise any issues we have. If we think we haven't scored it correctly, we'll raise that. Quite often, we will adjust things. I don't think in this case there was that much pushback.
I want to say the comments were, wow, Evan, this is great. Excellent post. And I said, wow, this is so great. I can't wait for this to be posted. And then it was posted, and then we were slaughtered. So the review we're talking about is set number 75352, Emperor's Throne Room Diorama. And we gave this set a pretty lower than average score. It's a 15 out of 25. But that's not why people were upset about this in the comments. People were upset because on the minifigure side, I included a photo of Darth Vader being unmasked, thinking when reviewing the set, oh, this would have been such a great opportunity to have a nice smiling Vader underneath his mask, since this is the scene where Vader is unmasked. Boy, did I not realize that that would be a controversial take, because all of these comments are people saying that this is not the scene where Vader is unmasked. And I am here to say that those people are wrong because I don't see how something that happens less than a minute in time sequentially is a different scene. It is like a concurrent segment.
Oh, Evan.
It was in the vicinity, so I think it's valid. I have a question. Are you a big Star Wars fan, or do you
Oh,
have like no
God.
connection to Star Wars at all?
Okay, do I have a connection at all? I mean, definitely. I do love Star Wars, but having joined the Tips and Bricks team and seeing people that love Star Wars, I know that I am not even close to hardcore. I've only seen the original movies plus some of the extended content. And by original movies, I mean like the nine plus Rogue One. But I've not seen really any of the TV shows. So I would say to the actual hardcore Star Wars fan, no, I am not a hardcore Star Wars fan at all. But for me, just as a general movie fan, someone that watches cinema and then has just opinions on it, if you murder someone and then get dragged into another room and then are unmasked, that is part of the same transition.
Evan, we've talked about this. I thought we got on the same page. Yes, they're on the Death Star, but they're in the throne room where the scene takes place. The set is based on the throne room. Luke then drags Vader all the way to the shuttle when they're about to leave the
All the
Death Star.
way.
It's a completely different space on the Death Star. It is a different scene. It depends what you class as a scene. I class as if it's changing setting. It's a different scene. They're changing setting.
But
They're
does
changing
it
rooms.
count if you're like changing settings like throughout the scene? Like the scene starts in one place, but you're moving throughout the scene into another spot. Like let's say like we start talking in one room and we continue our conversation in another room. Is that a separate scene?
I agree it's the same scene, but we're not. It doesn't show Luke dragging Vader all the way through the Death Star in the elevator, through
I
the
would love
corridors.
that. Imagine what their conversation would be in the elevator. You think it was awkward?
It'll be the longest elevator ride.
Okay, but here's my ultimate point, which I think that maybe we can agree on, is that this set was at least the only opportunity I could see for us to get a Vader unmasked head. Because are we gonna make the Luke drags Vader through the corridor scene in Lego? No, that diorama is not happening. This is the only Death Star scene diorama for this like last part of the movie that we're going to get. So this was the opportunity, and I think that Lego should have included it. And I also think maybe this is a bit of a hot take that I'll get in trouble for, but that Star Wars fans shouldn't complain that what I'm saying is wrong because I'm arguing for you. I want you guys to get a better figure.
A professional tip: don't gaslight Star Wars fans. Like, do not stir the hornet's nest.
But the issue is, he didn't know you didn't know you were stirring the hornet's nest, did you ever? You were like just putting out this review, like, oh, I wish we had this, and then they all came for you.
But honestly, it was a good time.
You still not learned your lesson though, but hey hey, sometimes it is good to be stubborn, even
Yeah.
if we disagree still, Evan. Hey hey, this is part of what makes it fun to have a team of people. Okay, I think that will bring us to the end of this segment then. Thank you so much, Jay and Evan, for sharing your controversial reviews and opinions on sets. We'll pass this over now to our listeners. Do you agree with the controversial reviews we've shared? Do you have any more to add that we've maybe not had the time to cover? Please share them in the Instagram post that's going to be up on our blog. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. But without further ado, let's head over into our next segment.
Yes, so it's time for our first game today, which is Guess the Theme. If you've listened to our previous episodes, you'll have already heard us play Guess the Set and Guess the Part. And so it's a similar format. I have a few specific Lego themes in my mind, and I'll provide up to 4 clues for our players, and they're going to do their best to be the first person to guess the Lego theme. But be careful, you can only make one guess per clue. I want my listeners at home to play along and see if you can guess more quickly than Alex or Jay can. So before we start, let's have each of you give your special buzz sound that will let me know that you're making a guess. Jay, this will be your sound. And Alex, this will be your sound. So, my first clue from my first theme is that this theme is revered for its excellent part use.
I'm going to go straight in with early because I'm very competitive, Jay. I'm going to go the botanical theme.
Eh, wrong.
Ah, I th
This is a great guess.
I know you love that theme as well, Evan. So I was like, great part usage. I know you've reviewed some of them, right? So
No, that was a great guess.
Do I go next or do I
Want
like?
to? I mean, you have one guess
Yes.
per clue.
Oh, one guess per clue. Okay. Ninjago.
Ninjago, also wrong. Uh, is Ninjago revered for its excellent parts use?
Yeah. Like Ninjago city, gardens, markets.
You know what? Whenever I think of Ninjago, for some reason I separate Ninjago and their city in my head. I find those to be like two separate themes almost. Or I guess maybe the city is like a sub-theme within Ninjago.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll go to clue 2. An example of this excellent parts use is the cupcake liner 79743, which was introduced in this theme, but it wasn't used for a cupcake. What is it, Jay?
Quack. It's Lego dots.
Also wrong. The
oh,
cupcake
you were
liner
so
was not used
confident.
for dots.
Wow.
So I think you quacked before I finished because I think you're thinking of the bigger cupcake liner. I'm thinking of the small little, it's over a little more than one stud, I think, cupcake liner.
Yeah, I know the one you're thinking of. Did it start off in Friends? I want to say.
Is that your answer?
No, 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 because you said it was uniquely used, and I've literally got a set in mind. But it would be a botanical set. So unless you're being tricky and botanicals are part of the icons theme.
I'm not being tricky like that. Icons
Okay.
is way too general.
Okay,
No,
good. Okay. I feel like I should take a stab in the dark. Let's go with ideas.
nope.
Oh dear, Jay, we're not doing too well here, are we?
No, no, no.
Third clue will probably give you a very good idea. So if you wish to collect all of these sets today, you need to expect to spend over $10,000.
Lego friends.
Eh, wrong.
Oh, Jay.
I actually now want to calculate and see. I feel like that's probably also true now that I think about it.
Hmm. So, this is interesting now because I feel like a lot of themes could fit that bill, right? So you said if we wanted to purchase them now, it would cost over $1,000. Yeah.
$10,000.
$10,000. Wow. Okay, so I'm thinking it's got to be an old theme, but maybe a theme that's had a lot of sets in it, but also has the cupcake liner. Where Do you know what my mind went to immediately? It went to the Bricklink Designer program because those sell for so much. But surely it's not that. That would be a really evil one, Evan. But I'm not saying that. It's going to be my guess. Have you got another clue for us?
I'll give you one more clue.
Okay, I think I need it.
If you collect all of the sets in this theme, you will own the rare green brick separator.
Oh,
Oh God, you guys did it at the same time.
no.
Say it together. One, two, three.
Modulars.
Modulars.
Nice. Okay, that is the
Yeah.
answer. So you both get the point.
Okay, we can accept a tie on that one, Jay. I don't know if it was a mixture of the clues being really hard or me and Jay just guessing too early.
The clues were hard. I thought in hindsight, when I wrote like the expect to spend over $10,000, I'm like, oh my God, this is so expensive. Not thinking that like it's a few number of sets. So maybe I should have included that in the clue.
That's why I went with Friends, because Friends is like 10, 11 years old, and like you could expect to spend like
Surely Star Wars has more sets.
You think it's $1,000 a year for Friends though? I feel like it's less.
yeah, probably, but like averaged out across 12 years, 11 years.
I feel like you might be able to secure all the Friends sets for under 10,000. That would be a cool game to play. Can you do it?
Have you got that 10,000 lying around, Evan? Do you want to play the game?
No. No.
Evan, you have $10,000 by every single friend set.
I hope I, as the blog leader, am not giving him this money.
Oh my
You are
God.
not doing this for the blog, Evan. I don't
This
give
is
you
not part of my
permission.
budget. Do
No, unfortunately not. Maybe one day.
you guys own a lot of the modular collection sets?
Yeah, kind of. Yes. Like all of them?
You own all of them,
Like
Jay?
like all of them. Wow.
Yeah.
Even Market Street.
Even Market Street, yes.
Oh my
Cafe
Okay.
Corner,
goodness.
Market Street, yeah.
So, Jay, can you tell us where the cupcake line has been used if you've built all of them? No?
I have not built all of them. I own
Okay.
all of them. I have not built all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where was the cupcake liner?
So it's in
Because
a
that's a
Tips and Bricks review, is where I got this. It's in the boutique hotel. So they introduced the cupcake liner in this set, and it's actually as lampshades.
Interesting.
What is your favorite, Jay, since you have all of them?
My favorite modular? Oh, way to put me on the spot. I'd say boutique hotel.
So you should have known.
I should have known. I should
How
have
can you
known.
call it your favorite set, Jay? Have you even built it?
I just like the colors. I just think the colors are great.
It is good. That's a great one.
I feel like that's maybe a controversial one though, because it's like a corner one, right? But then it's like a angled corner.
I guess it's kind of a building that doesn't really exist in real life because any of those super angular flat iron style buildings would be on their own and they wouldn't have some other like attachment to it. But again, it's a Lego city, like it's not supposed to be real.
It's fictional.
Exactly. Okay, on to our second theme. So, my first clue is going to be very general. So this theme includes realistic flesh-toned characters.
Hmm.
What?
I've got a guess. I may as well use it. I'm going to go with Star Wars because Star Wars kind of was the first license to introduce flesh tones.
Oh my goodness, how did you already get it right?
What?
Well, I had some logic, so in your face for giving me a generic clue. I'm a true Star Wars fan.
Wow. So I'm actually so upset that you got this right because my second clue was very evil. You know, I should have had my second clue as my first clue. I was going to say that the theme provides you with the opportunity to play with your characters in tree houses, cooking in a kitchen, and taking them on a bike ride, which are all true in Star Wars.
That's so deceptive.
Technically, there is one kitchen,
Yes, the Lars homestead, right?
yes. And I think the Ewok village counts as tree houses.
Totally. I was going to say we're rumored for a new one, but I'm not sure if we're discussing rumors on this podcast.
Are we actually?
I think so. I don't, Joe, do you keep up with rumors?
Professionally, yes, but personally, I don't really care. Yeah, I don't think it's this year though. I think it's next.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, Alex, you now have a point somehow. That just happened. So I guess my insanely generic clue.
Well, if I'd just guessed it off nothing, then it would be a bit unfair. But I did have some logic. The fact that it was the first flesh-toned licensed theme. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Which I think is pretty controversial, really, because I think it was Cloud City, 2003, and this set we actually have talked about it quite a lot on the blog because it's really interesting to see Lego. Mostly, they've been sticking with for Star Wars with yellow minifigures, but then when they introduced the figure of Lando Calrissian, they chose to have him using reddish brown for the head, but all the other minifigures were yellow.
I think Darth Vader is gray in that. So they did do a
Hmm.
like another non-white character, even though I mean Darth Vader is destroyed by fire.
It gets so tricky though, doesn't it? And I know people would say, "Oh, this was ages ago. Lego have changed their tune then." But for me, it just shows Lego's mindset at the time that yellow equaled white. And we're not going to get into that now. That's a wider discussion. But
Oh, for sure.
yeah, because we've discussed that set so much, and Star Wars and just flesh tones, that's why it came to mind. So yeah, I would take that, take the win, however I can.
Congratulations, well done.
Let me go on to the next theme that we have. So, clue number one. This theme's most valuable set of all time in the aftermarket, this is according to Brick Economy, is $1,200. The set's name, I'll even give you that, is 4785 Black Castle. Jay,
Lego Castle?
it is not Lego Castle.
What?
Lego Castle is probably much more expensive in the aftermarket.
A sealed one would get close, but okay.
Can you repeat the clue, please, Evan?
So the theme's most valuable set of all time in the aftermarket is $1,200. The set's name is 4785 Black Castle.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to take my time a little bit. 4785, you said, was the set number. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is an old set, especially with that valuing as well. If it's not Castle, but you said it was called Black Castle, right?
Mhm.
Interesting. Nothing's coming to mind. I'm thinking maybe like Creator. When they have they just give you a bunch of random bricks and you can build something. But Black Castle,
You want to officially get?
I've got nothing to lose. Creator.
It is not Creator.
Ah,
Let me give you guys the second clue. This theme has over 1,300 sets released as of this recording, according to Brickset.
1,300 sets.
A lot of sets.
Wow.
Did you say 12,000?
So 1,200,
1,200. Oh, okay.
which is not that high. That's kind of why I gave that clue. The most expensive, most valuable set of this theme on the aftermarket is only $1,200, which I feel like for Lego in general, and for something that has over 1,300 sets. So it must be on the market for quite some time, this theme.
My mind was going to maybe like a gift with purchase because that can be smaller and exclusive, but there wouldn't be that many of them. Any thoughts, Jay? What's your brain thinking?
It's digging through the archives, just trying to like,
I think we might need the next clue.
I'll give you guys the next clue. So this theme has produced more unique Lego horses than any other theme, according to Bricklink. Yes.
is it Duplo?
Yes, it is Duplo. Nice job.
Ah, what?
Wow.
I wanted to kind of do something a little fun here. And so when I saw that the most valuable Duplo set on the aftermarket was $1,200, I was like, this is so funny to me. Like that there is the Duplo aftermarket.
That's crazy. Is the Black Castle the set with the like Duplo dragon?
Maybe, you know what? Let me look. When I saw this set, when I was looking it up, this set looked amazing. This was an intense Duplo set. Look this up, 4785 Black Castle. If this came out today, I genuinely think that AFOLs would go crazy over it still. It came out in 2005, though.
Oh wow, that is
It doesn't even look like Duplo.
Wow.
that art is great. That's amazing. I'm gonna go buy one.
For $1,200. Oh, actually, on Bricklink, there's a used one in the Netherlands for $330.
Where were you getting your pricing info from? Oh, did you say Brick Economy?
I said Brick Economy,
Okay.
but that's new in box. That is new in box.
Okay.
Don't use Brick Economy for pricing. They're not like yeah.
What would you use, Jay?
I just use Bricklink or eBay sold. Yes, that's the one with the Duplo dragon. Yes. Yeah, yep.
I think my last clue would have given it away, which is this theme follows the 2-1 ratio. But I'm very happy, Jay, that you got it ahead of time. We're going to do a quick tiebreaker round, final round. Clue one, this theme was introduced as part of a partnership between Lego and a media company. Yes,
Lego Video.
not correct.
Oh.
Jay,
Ooh, Lego Disney.
not correct, but a great guess.
Ooh.
So, clue number two, up until the Royal Ornithopter set was released this year from Dune, this theme had the only set that featured an all-black minifigure that had light nougat hands. So if you wanted to have a black torso and a black arms and light nougat hands, you could only get it in this theme.
It's not helping me, unfortunately, Evan.
Oh no, this was honestly just for my fun. So I'm gonna actually just jump right into clue number three, which only two sets were released before this theme was discontinued. Only two sets were released before this theme was discontinued.
Uh,
Yes.
Lego Avatar.
Yes, it is Lego Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Were there only two sets?
Yes, the ship and like the hut.
Hmm. My final clue was going to be that the main character in this theme uses no hairpiece.
Ah,
When I originally made these clues, this came out around the same time as SpongeBob, and so I was going to say this was a new partnership, but I didn't realize upon further research, shout out Clay, our other host that told me when I was compiling the clues that actually, did you know that Lego Dora the Explorer existed in the early 2000s?
Hmm.
I did not know that. It's part
I
of the,
did not know that either. How
I
many
believe
sets
it's
did
like,
that have?
They would, yeah, they would Duplo sets.
Um, Makes sense.
but yeah, that was, okay, let me jump back here.
Wow, Jay, well done. These were hard clues, Evan.
Yeah, I went a little hard. Well, because I didn't want you guys to guess all of them immediately. And what I think is funny is that I think that my hardest one was the one that you guessed the fastest.
So proud of that. Does that really show my knowledge, though, or was it just a good guess? We'll go with some reasoning.
So thank you guys for playing Guess the Theme with us today, and congratulations, Jay, for winning. We want to hear from you guys, whether you were faster than today's players or what you loved most about these themes in general. So check out our posts that adore our old themes, like our theme tributes or history of posts. We recently published a very popular guide to LEGO Castle Factions, post number 2430. It was cool to see how many fans were really passionate and excited for that post. So yeah, be sure to check out these posts and tune into future episodes for more rounds of Guess That Theme. So we're going to segue right in to our question of the week. So every episode, we share a burning question about Lego that we're going to answer together. We also want to hear from you, our listeners, what you guys have to say. So be sure to listen back to our question of the week from the previous episodes, and you can continue the conversation in our Patreon Discord. And there are more details for that that are found in the show notes. And one of our Patreons is actually on the show with us right now. So thank you, Jay.
Oh, that's me. Awesome.
So the question I prepared this week comes from actually a recent experience that I've had with some other members of the Tips and Bricks team. We had our first official showing as a team at a Lego convention at Brickworld Chicago, and it was such a fun experience. Like it was so cool to one just meet a lot of the fellow team members. If the listeners don't know, a lot of us at Tips and Bricks, we're just all around the world, and so we don't actually meet in person to do any of the blog work that we do. So whenever we get a chance to actually meet each other in person, it's very special. And so that experience was amazing and also prompted my question this week, which is, what are the best moments and the biggest challenges of attending or even displaying at LEGO conventions? So, Jay, what has been your experience?
I think the biggest challenge personally is that I would love to go and see more Lego conventions, but I live in Australia. It's very far away from a lot of the world. So we have really good shows here in Australia, which is great. But yeah, it's just the travel, and I'm a dad. I've got a young family, so it's extra hard to kind of step away and go visit Lego conventions.
What conventions do you have in Australia that are super popular?
Oh, plenty. Brickvention. You guys should come and visit Brickvention. It's Australia's like premier Lego convention, but we also have smaller shows in pretty much every state across the calendar year. So these are, organized by local Lego user groups, lugs, and they're a lot of fun as well.
Which international ones have you been to, Jay? Because I met you in person at Scareback. But have you been to any ones in the US or any other countries?
No, I think internationally, I've only been to Scareback. The next on my list that I would love to visit would be Japan Brickfest, and
Hmm.
obviously like Brickwall Chicago.
Yeah, I agree. Those two are on my list. And like you said, Brickvention. It's on my list. It's whether I go to Brickwell Chicago or Brickvention first. It would depend where my other travels take me. I'll definitely combine it. Because those shows just look so great. I mean, we are lucky in the UK. We have one called Bricktastic, which is held in Manchester, and that is a really big show. I've been to that for 2 years now, just attending and had an absolute blast there. They raised money for a charity, Fairy Bricks, that raised money to get Lego sets to kids in hospitals. So it's a really great cause, and it's just such a warm convention. Everyone kind of knows each other, or everyone's very friendly to newcomers. There's a really good percentage of mock builders. There are some vendors where you can get some great deals, but it's not just taken over by that. Whereas some shows in the UK can be a bit taken over by vendors and they kind of lose that adult fan of Lego spirit, right? And that passion that we all bring to the hobby that we can kind of pass on to that next generation. That's what I really love about Bricktastic. How was your experience at Brickworld Chicago, Evan? What was the kind of ratio of builders and vendors?
Oh, way more builders than vendors. There were actually times, the only times that I actually realized that vendors existed would be when I'd be on one side of the hall and try to look over to the other, and the vendors just go up like 5 stories. And so you like can't see it, like kind of cuts off your view from everything. But besides that, you can basically ignore the vendors and have just the best time looking at so many mocks. I was anticipating a lot, but I was still positively overwhelmed by the amount of just talent and just the actual amount too of stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think a big challenge of conventions can be they can be really overwhelming experiences, right? Especially if it's
Mm.
like they're running for a few days and if it's your first one, like they're very intense. You're probably on your feet all day. You're meeting so many new people. There's so much to take in. You feel like you want to take it all in, and it can be hard to kind of maybe find your own space or even get rest, But so I think my bit of advice would just be to pace yourself, make sure you're getting food and drink and just taking breaks when you need. It's probably going to be impossible to see absolutely everything and talk to absolutely everyone. So just do what you can and make sure you don't burn out because no one wants that.
Alex, I will have to say that that's really good advice. Like it can be really, really overwhelming, especially like big ones, like these huge mega conventions like Brick World Chicago. I think Bricktastic would probably be, fall in that category as well. Which is why I would actually advocate to take time to go and visit like smaller, more regional conventions because they are so much more laid back. It's more chill. You get to really kind of see people, see their mocks, see their builds, and also like catch up with them. And it's just not as hectic as like a big convention where there's like stuff going on all the time. There's like talks, there's like auctions, there's like vendors, there's like a marketplace and all the mocks as well. So yeah, like smaller shows are great actually.
Yeah, that's really good advice. There are quite a few in the UK, and again, they're kind of raising money for charity, and they're just organised by a few people, and they have still quite a big group of builders come in and display, but they're definitely not as overwhelming. So it's nice to have that option. A lot more have been popping up in the UK, and I imagine as well in the US 7, there's probably quite a few.
There are so many. I know
Yeah.
that Bethany this year, not even this year, this summer is going to like four. And it's all kind of in the general vicinity of her location in the Midwest, which is just I think remarkable. I think before joining the Lego community, and for me, that was really joining the Tips and Bricks team. I had no idea how big the Lego community was. You really just like when you're just building sets, you're just like, oh, this is like I like Lego. And I feel like for a lot of people, you might have like a friend or two that like also enjoys building Lego, but it's not like a universal hobby by any means. And so when you actually realize how many people love this hobby, and not only that, love the hobby enough to then attend a convention for the hobby, it is very, very awesome, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the one like The mocks are always great. Like it's always great to kind of go and be Marvel, but I think the stuff you really take away from conventions is the people that you meet there and the connections that you make.
What would be your best methods for maximizing your experience meeting people?
Yeah, I think, and this is quite hard for people who are introverted, but I'd say just go up to like the mock builders and people who display and just have a chat. Like they are there to display. They're happy to talk about their mocks and talk about how they built it, inspirations, any cool Easter eggs they've hidden all over the place. And after a while, you'll just realize that everyone's just so friendly and so great to talk to. I'd say also just go up to people that you follow online and just say hi. Like that's the as someone that gets to go to conventions, I love it when people come up to me and say hi because
Hmm.
I write a blog. I don't really get to see or interact with my readers outside of like comments or social media. So this is always a great time to just say hi and just chat.
Yeah, you bring a good point up, Jay, that what we do and the Lego community in general is very online. And because of that, oftentimes it's either the blog, which is your words or a Lego set, or for a mock builder, their build that is kind of their face, for instance. And so we
Hmm.
don't often get to actually see the person behind the build. And so I think a good tip would also be before a convention, whether either on your Instagram story, Facebook, whatever social media you have, to post a picture of yourself just so people actually know who to go up to.
Yeah, I agree, Evan. I think that's a great way so that people can recognize your face and say hi to you around a convention hall. Another great method, I think, is having a brick badge. A lot of these can be provided by the event, or sometimes you have to bring them yourself, but often they'll have your name on, maybe what Lego user group you're from, or what part of the world you're from. We have a Tips and Bricks brick that all of our team have. They can share that they're part of Tips and Bricks, as well as we have some t-shirts around now, so it's pretty easy to recognize us. But you can also add other things you want. So I know Gayfoles, which is a Facebook group, they were producing some brick built pride flags. So you could indicate if you're part of that community or supportive of that community, which just promotes that message of inclusivity. And also the Women's Brick Initiative had created some printed bricks to show how you enjoy the hobby. So all of these things you could add to your brick badge. And the final thing as well is you could include some pronoun badges as well. It's something that I believe the Women's Brick Initiative were also working on, and I think it just automatically it makes it so much easier to go up and say hi to someone if you can see their name right, or if you can see they're part of the LGBTQ plus community. You go up and talk about that or the themes they're fans of. So that's the tip that I'd give.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I agree. I think I love that our conversation has taken more this direction with conventions and talking more about the people because I think you go into your first convention expecting it to be about the mocks and then you leave realizing it was the friends we made along the way. And so
Oh,
Amazing.
and so I think that's a great way actually just to close out this segment. And yeah, so thanks so much for sharing your answers to this week's question of the week. For those listening, we would love to hear your answers to this week's question. Do you also feel as strongly as us that conventions are about the people, or are you really diehard about your personal mocks, which actually is a great opinion also. But what are also your best moments and your biggest challenges for attending a Lego convention? Share your answers with us on social media or by joining our Patreon Discord. And we can't wait to hear from you.
fantastic. Thank you, Evan. That brings us on very nicely to our last segment of the episode. Oh, it's gone so fast, but finally we have reached my favorite game, Make It, Mod It, Mock It. So let's go straight into it. What we'll be doing is we'll be discussing three Lego sets, but there's a catch. We each have to place the sets in three separate categories. Which set we would make, which set we would mod to maybe modify it and improve it, and which set would we just tear down to its parts. We don't want to build it, we're going to use it as mock parts. So I'm going to list those three sets, and I thought for today we would rewind 10 years back to 2014. This feels like an absolute lifetime ago for me. This was when I was still kind of engaged in the hobby. I didn't actually have a Dark Ages, but I remember seeing so many of these sets on shelves and actually in the Lego magazine and really wanting them, but I just didn't have the disposable income, or I'd put some on my Christmas list, but only get a few. So my first question is, Evan J, let's take us back to 10 years ago. What was your involvement in the Lego community then?
My involvement in the Lego community was pretty minimal. I remember at this time, the extent of my involvement was going on Eurobricks to constantly refresh their page to see if there would be an inkling of rumor for Lego Harry Potter to return. I still remember the day in like 2017 of when like there was like an inkling of a rumor. I'm not even kidding. Like every couple months I would just like refresh to see if there would be something, anything. But this is like probably in the middle of that. So I'm probably very sad at this point.
So the sets we discussed today, hopefully you have fun discovering them maybe for the first time. But Jay, how about you?
These sets are very vivid in my consciousness because I think this is fairly recently after exiting my dark ages. So I was like super clocked in to what Lego was doing. So this was like amazing.
Fantastic. Okay, so 2014. Let's take our listeners back. This saw the release of the Lego Movie. Iconic movie. Love that movie. But also a lot of discontinued themes. So we've got ones like The Hobbit, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Hero Factory, and Simpsons. We've, of course, also got Star Wars, Marvel Friends, Minecraft, and Technic. They were all still around then and still around to this day. But I'm actually going to pick out three sets that are from themes that no longer exist that I haven't mentioned already. Do you remember in the magazines where they had like competitions where you could win sets? Let's imagine that you've entered a Lego magazine competition and these three sets have arrived at your door, but you have to make one, mod one, and mock one. What are you going to do? Our first set is 70146 Flying Phoenix Fire Temple, available for £89.99, $119.99 for 1,301 parts and 7 minifigures. So I remember seeing this set so vividly in a Lego magazine and just thinking it looked so cool. To describe it for our listeners, it's a fire temple with a golden gateway. It's got tan walls, it's got some fire pits and red and yellow columns with turrets around as well. But the main part is this kind of phoenix. You can actually take this off the temple and it transforms into this flying phoenix, kind of similar to like a Ninjago dragon, but like a phoenix form. It's not the prettiest build, but it's got some great functionality. We've also got a bad guy vehicle too, a saber-tooth vehicle. And I found this really interesting. The price to get this in 2024 is only about double the retail price. So it won't set you back too far if you want to pick it up. And used, it's actually available for just under the retail price. Just to finish off, it's got 7 minifigures as well. So I saw this set, such a cool set. The play features, bright colors, it's reds, it's yellows, love it. Let's move on to our second set now. Jay, do you want to tell us about this set? It's going to be the 70165 Ultra Agents Mission HQ. Can you tell us about this set, please?
I vividly remember this set. I own this set. The Ultra Agents Mission HQ was a quite a popular like archetype of the super agent truck. It's the spiritual successor to the first Ultra Agents truck, which was like dark blue. It had shiny silver elements. I remember it very, very vividly. And this one just kind of took it to the next level. Ultra Agents as a whole is the minifigure design. Like the agents were cool, but this one also had, I think it was Terabyte, which was like a hacker type villain, and yeah, he was included as a exclusive in this set. So yeah, great. We've had a lot of like Lego trucks that would serve as a base of operations. Clearly inspired Lego City, where you had those city command HQ trucks, and then this kind of extended out to Ultra Agents. I remember in the same kind of like vicinity as well, there was the Alien Conquest. They had a similar kind of like truck that was a base, the Alien Defense HQ set. Even like Batman got his own like base truck set. So yeah, this was a very cool set.
They must have been popular with the kids, so they just kept repeating it. And it is a really fun concept. The truck area folds out into a mission area. This had a laboratory, it had a TV screen, it had a buggy as well, and all in that Ultra Agents black and trans blue color scheme, which was very sleek, very modern.
It just like expanded the set so much. It just made the set feel so much bigger when it just unpacked itself.
So yeah, so that our second set is the Ultra Agents Mission HQ, available for £79.99 or $99.99, 1,060 pieces. We're going to move on to our third set, and this is actually from the Lego Movie. Evan, can you tell us what this set is, and can you describe it for us, please?
So this is Benny's spaceship. This is set number 70816.
I've got to interrupt you there, Evan. It's not just Benny's spaceship, it's Benny's spaceship, spaceship, spaceship. You've got to do it in the voice, and it's got to be all three spaceships.
Okay, you are right. And what's so embarrassing is I don't know that because I'm gonna get so canceled on this episode. I have not seen the Lego movie yet. And that is such a crazy
Wait,
thing to be
what?
a Lego fan. I know, I
What?
know. And hear me out on this one. It's because this came out when I was in high school and I was dating a girl at the time, and we'd been in a relationship for quite some time, very serious. And we had plans to go see this movie because I love Lego, and she was supportive of the hobby and was very excited. And then she went to go see it with this guy that was like, they were friends, but they were like flirty. It was some high school silly thing, but I was so upset that behind my back, my girlfriend went to go see this movie with someone else that it permanently scarred me. And so I had such negative feelings towards the Lego movie that I never saw it, which is so funny because I've been gay for so long now that you'd think that that trauma would be completely erased, which it is. But yeah,
Uh, that's a funny story, but also a sad story. Are you all right to tell us about the seven? Through the tears.
this set I just learned is Benny's spaceship, spaceship, spaceship.
The final spaceship is like all caps. You need to like.
Does it have to be volume or is it more so like guttural energy?
Is it getting higher as well with every one, as well as volume? So your pitch and your volume needs to increase. Can we hear you take it from the top, Evan?
My neighbor's about to hate me, but let me go. It is Benny's spaceship, spaceship, spaceship!
There you go. That's good. I love the excitement and panic in your voice.
I was a little scared, I won't lie. There's a little bit of fear in there. I could hear the noise complaint like in the back of my head.
We won't make you do it again then, Evan. Don't worry.
Okay, so to describe this set, it is a spaceship. So Benny, if you don't know, is a spaceman in a blue spacesuit, and like that, his spaceship is also a blue color scheme with a, I believe that's trans yellow accents. There's some gray in there too, so it's a pretty combined color scheme. It's a very like narrow pointed spaceship with a main back wing, but then also this interesting front wing situation. And then we have four minifigures plus a space Unikitty, which even though I haven't seen the movie, I can confirm that Unikitty is iconic. And so to get a space variant is very cool.
She's a classic space logo on it. Like it's a classic space Unikitty.
That
Mm.
is pretty cool. And then also to top it off is a miniature plane for the villain of the movie, and it's a much smaller black fighter plane.
So that was for the Robocops, which will make sense once you watch the film, Evan.
Oh my God, this is terrible. I'm gonna be so
If you look at Emmett, Emmett is the protagonist and the hero of the Lego movie. He has aluminium foil all over his face.
Why?
Well, that will make sense once you watch the movie.
Yeah, we're not telling you, Evan, we're not giving you the easy way out. You've got to get through this trauma from your past, okay?
I know. No, I honestly just haven't gotten around to watching it, which is so silly. Like, I just really just should put it on one night. I just keep forgetting. I need to just do it.
Well, hopefully this will initiate that and you'll watch it tonight.
Well, anyway, let's make it Modded Pocket.
Okay, and just to finish off with that set, it's got 940 parts and retailed for £79.99 and $99.99. So I've tried to choose three sets that are roughly the same price, same size, and they all actually have a focus on playability. They have a lot of functions. So now we're going to get into which set would we make, which set would we mod to make it better, and which set would we mod. So Jay, I'm going to come to you first. Which set would you make and why?
Ooh, this is so tough. I would make the Ultra Agents Mission HQ.
Interesting. Okay. Tell us why.
So I thought about mocking it, but I've got another pick in that list, which would be a lot more fun. I just think that it's the complete playset, and the fact that it can fold and kind of extend out. There's very little room to kind of like improve on that functionality without compromising on the design, and it's just so much fun. I would just leave the truck as is because it's just so playable.
Okay. Yeah, I see your points. It's a great set. But Evan, is it the one you would make as well, or did you have a different one down?
Definitely not. I'm so sorry, Jay, but this set would be thrown into mock for me only because this set is just not display oriented really at all for me. It's very play oriented, but a big black truck just is not what appeals to me personally as a Lego collector. And I'm not super familiar with this IP either, so it doesn't really have like that attachment to me beyond just like the Lego build itself. And so if I'm just looking at the Lego build, while it looks cool, I think the other two, one of them has a slight edge on the display ability, and the other has a slight edge on the playability to me. The one that I would make solely because I just want to do this play function is the Phoenix. I just think that that play function just seems so cool that I want to try it.
Oh, see, I would agree with you there, Evan, because like I said, saw it in the Lego magazines, I was like, yes, I need that set. But actually, I've chosen a different one. So we've all picked different answers here. I went for Benny's spaceship, 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 because I just think it's just a love letter to classic space, but it adds a lot more. Like you've got some boosters on there, you've got some trans red elements. It's such a fun set. I can just imagine swishing this around. And as we discussed, the minifigures, perfect. Like I think this is a perfect set. I really regret not getting it. So that's why it's my make. I think it's the perfect set. Let's go on next then to mod, because I would actually mod the Phoenix Fire Temple Evan, because for me, I think this is such a cool set, but it could be built out a bit more. So you could create like more of a landscape, you could create a hill, you could build out the temple, really make this like the base for the Phoenix. So we should have mentioned the Fire Temple as part of the Chima theme, which had different animal tribes battling out against each other. So you could really build this up, turn it into a mock with some great walls, some great landscaping, but you could build out this Phoenix. And the issue for me with the Phoenix is if you look at it in its Phoenix form, the wings aren't very detailed. They're kind of just red plates. I think there's a lot of studs exposed. There are some nice details on it, but I would really want to add some of the more modern techniques like we've seen with the Ninjago dragons and some of the techniques that, mock builders use to build out some feathers, just make this a bit more kind of realistic. Obviously, we're fantasy here, but I just think this set has so much potential. It's so fun, but I'd want to make it bigger and better. Yeah, I'd have so much fun with this.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. That was my pick for mod as well, just to make a bigger Phoenix temple. Like make it actually look like a temple rather than, just walls.
Yeah, okay. Evan, what did you have in your mod set then?
My mod was going to be the Benny's spaceship, because I think that if I wanted to incorporate this into my display, I think it could be cool to make it part. I have my Star Wars spaceships hanging from the ceiling, and I think that I could incorporate this and mod it a little bit to make it a little bit more Star Wars oriented and fit in a little bit better. Though honestly, it does already pretty well. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think of maybe I would bulk up the little fighter plane a little bit more. I would give Unikitty its own ship because Unikitty deserves a space too. And I would attach strings to it so I could hang it from my ceiling.
I was with you there until you said you'd incorporate it into a Star Wars display. I mean, unless we're talking about episode 9 when all the ships come in to save the day, I think Star Wars.
You could do something really fun with the moment where Vader's unmasked. I know Evan's really passionate about that, so
A lot of different
Oh,
locations in that scene, yeah. So you could probably check it in.
actually, I think this was where Vader was unmasked on Benny's spaceship.
exactly,
Of
yeah.
course.
Right now, I have the TIE fighter and the TIE bomber chasing the X-Wing and the Millennium Falcon. So I think it would be funny if in the front was Benny's spaceship leading the charge. I think that could be kind of comic.
Okay, I can see your point there. That would be a very fun scene. So we've made good progress then. We now come on to our last category, which is mock. So Jay, let's come to you first. Which set then would you mock?
Yeah, the last remaining one, Benny's spaceship.
Perfect.
This is just an invitation. It's such a great Lego space parts pack. You have all the classic space staples in blue. You have the canopy in trans yellow. There's just so much that you can do with it. You could turn it into a mech. You could turn it into a different ship. I feel like this is just a massive, bright invitation from Lego to go. We've given you this ultimate classic space parts pack with a few modern parts and elements included in it that you could do so much with it. So yeah, you could just make this into something even bigger, turn it into a space base. So many things you could do with it. This is just one of those sets that would be picture perfect on like the back of the box, like inspiration builds. Like you could do so much with this.
Yeah, you make some good points. I definitely see how it has the potential for that. For me, though, the set almost looks like a mock. Like it looks like a kid's thrown it together from some parts, like they've taken that inspiration. So that's why I wouldn't want to take it apart. I couldn't take it apart. But each their own, some great ideas. So, Evan, we come to you then. Which set would you take apart, scrap for parts?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, all of these sets would be scrapped for parts.
Killing my childhood, Evan. How dare
I know, I'm
you?
so sorry. I'm such a display-oriented person. I'm such a fan of Lego buildings, and I am a fan of vehicles too, but more so within like the Star Wars realm. I think those are more interesting. And for me, these sets, while amazing playability, like I could see if I was younger, or even honestly, if I just wanted to play with the Phoenix. I mean, that just seems really cool too. But none of these sets I would be picking up if they came out today. I could say that with confidence. And so for me, I'm judging them solely based off of playability and how I would want to have them swooshed around. And for me, the Phoenix is most swooshable. Benny's spaceship is second most swooshable. And if you try to swoosh this truck, it would fall apart.
I'm sure you could try. But yeah, I do agree with you as well. Wasn't purely going off that. Just for me, those other two sets have a bit more about them that appealed for those other two categories. And I feel like you could take this set apart, and I do love the color scheme, right? The black, the trans blue, and it's got some great elements like the laptop, it's got computer screens, the lab, nice side mech as well. I feel like you could use those parts for something else. You could make a really cool base, make a modular kind of base, like make a secret underground base maybe for the Ultra Agents. You could incorporate it in that way.
Or for a Batman layer, great parts pack for Batman.
So true.
Great parts pack, honestly, for a Star Wars MOC too. I mean, lots of gray, lots of black. You could definitely make some sort of like Death Star diorama even with this. You could actually make the scene where Vader's unmasked. These are the perfect parts for that corridor, quite frankly.
Then we would finally have a set of that specific scene because it's very different from the throne scene. But we can disagree on that, Evan. We can disagree. Okay, brilliant. Well, that brings us to the end of an incredible round of Make It, Mod It, Mock It. So thank you, Jay and Evan, for sharing your choices. We want to hear now from our listeners. Do you agree with our choices? Would you have had a completely different list? And do you remember these sets from 10 years ago? Let us know in the comments of the Instagram post we're going to have up. We look forward to reading all of your answers. Fantastic. So that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Tips and Bricks podcast. Thank you so much, Jay, for joining us. We've had so much fun. I hope you've had fun too. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share or any projects you're working on at the moment?
Nothing in particular. I just had a great time. I mostly consume Tips and Bricks on social media, so it's so good to like spend a solid couple of hours with such fine gentlemen.
Oh, too kind, Jay, too kind. And likewise. So, Jay, where can our listeners find you? Do you want to run through your kind of social media and some of the other things you do?
Yeah, I'm kind of like everywhere. Like the mothership is my blog at jaysbrickblog.com. You can find me on Instagram at jayong28. I'm also on Twitter at jayong28. I'm also on Facebook at jaysbrickblog and on TikTok as well. So you can find me most places. And I also have a podcast that I co-host with Richard Jones from The Rambling Brick at Extra Pieces. Just search Extra Pieces Podcast.
Super. We'll have all of those in the show notes. So, our listeners, make sure you go check out Jay and his podcast as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jay. And for our listeners, we would love to have you come back for our next episode. It's hosted by Bethany and myself, and we're going to be joined by another special guest. Until then, continue the conversation with @Tips&Bricks on Instagram and YouTube, and join us on Patreon. The link can be found in the podcast description. If you enjoyed today's episode, leaving us a review helps listeners like you find us. So if you want to hear more of the conversation, join our Patreon for even more podcast content. And until next time, I'm Evan with Alex and Jay, signing off. Happy building, everyone.